We went through a lot of things already. Let's now go through one more thing that I already showed you a little bit of, but it's the pen tool. As I said, pencil tool, I doubt you're going to use a lot as a designer, just because pen tool is so much more powerful and so much cleaner when it comes to the lines it produces. To start using the pen tool, you can either press P on your keyboard or hit this icon on the top, and you have to then position your first point. You just press on your trackpad or your mouse, and you've created your first point, and then you can just kind of go around with your mouse and select where the next point is going to be. As soon as you hit click, it's going to appear there. You see that this first part is no longer editing its position or anything, and I'm now working towards adding my third point. If I press and hold, I have the ability to create curved lines. So something like this. I press again, adding a little bit more of the curve in here. And if I use shift, I can again align my lines based on 45-degree angles like this. And if I hit it back at the right place where my first point was, then this becomes a closed off shape. If I just hit enter, I'm done with editing my shape that I've created with a pen. What is going to happen in here, you're going to create a vector. Vector is a term in graphics that means that it's kind of eternally scalable, and it's not going to lose on quality versus a raster graphic, which is something like this image that if I drag in here and I resize it a lot, if I zoom in, you're going to see little pixels appear. So that's the difference. I've now created a shape that's based on mathematical points that we drew with our pencil. And you're going to notice that basically when you create a shape with a pen tool, by default it's going to have a stroke, but you can always switch it to a fill, and it can become an object, and it can also become something that you're going to use as a mask. So yeah, just a demo. I'm gonna take this image out of the mask, and you can see even though I changed the position, it's still in the group, so we can see it because the mask is only this object in here. If we take it out of the group, it's now visible. And I'm gonna use the pen tool to kind of trace around this Figma shape. So I press down, I am still holding on the trackpad, or in your case it might be a mouse, and then I'm drawing this second shape, and I'm kind of trying to get it as close as possible to the Figma logo. I'm not gonna do it all because there's no reason for you to watch me just kind of try to replicate the shape that we have here in the logo. But you can see now that as soon as I pressed enter, this is now a done shape. What you can do, as with all other shapes that we've demonstrated, you can press enter and go inside each of these little points that create the shape, and you can control it. What's really fun with pen tool, you can use these options in here on the top right under vector, or you can manually use options in here to decide if this line is gonna take the two, if this dot that we have in here is gonna take the two lines that kind of create the angle that's coming in and out of it. You can switch it from no mirroring, which means that each line is basically independent of each other, or you can mirror the angles that they come in, or mirror both angle and length to kind of create a different shape. So in here, as you can see, this line, I switched it to mirror length and angle, and you can now see that it's kind of created creating a more perfect shape in a sense. Or you can just use this to kind of drag it around, but ensure that if you want to change it to a specific place, that you have no mirroring on, because then you can just control this one. And I can use that to maybe create a better version of this curve in here and this curve in here, even though this one has a mirror angle. So I first have to go inside this dot, change it to no mirroring, take this line, and then kind of drag it around to create a better shape. It's not perfect, and it's something to get used to. If you've used other design tool, I'm sure that there was an alternative to the pen tool or the pen tool inside of it, so you might be familiar with it. If not, kind of try and practice drawing with your mouse or trackpad, and you can create some interesting shapes. Now, one thing I didn't cover in the mask video, to actually be able to create a mask. So like this, we have a group, we can create this as a mask. You see that nothing is actually showing besides the strokes in here. That's because our vector shape that we just designed isn't filled, it just has strokes. So doing something like this allows you to create a shape that you can use for designing. And you can see how we use the mask in here to actually just take little parts of the Figma logo and use it in our visual somewhere. So yeah, this covers a little bit addition to masks, but overall how to use the pen tool and why it could be useful, especially for drawing illustrations or icons in Figma.